No steady date, no cash on hand. He was out for a taste with nothing planned. Walked out of the rain and into his sin for a cigarette and a shot of gin. Band was playing Blue Skies and the barkeep wore a rose. Some down and out slapped his back saying that cat really blows. But all eyes were on the catwalk where a dance was moving high. She licked her lips and shook her hips as she went moving by. Boilermaker, Jack and Coke. He's heading for, he should be heading for the door. He knew he'd known her once before, but the name he could not guess. Just tossed a top on a hungry cop, showed the tattoo on her chest.
Coming to you live from the United Services Organization. From those south of the Mason-Dixon line, I'll spell it, the USO. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, right here thumbing our noses. And in my case, I have to use both thumbs to our good buddy Adolf Hitler. As you all know, these shows we've been doing have been big hits all along the front with our boys. And gosh, we felt as equal opportunity entertainers that we shouldn't leave anybody out. So in that spirit, we want to make sure that old Uncle Adolf gets his share of hits too, fellas. What do you say? How about going over and giving him a couple of hits for me and all the other people here tonight? Well, we think we have a great show for you. Plenty of pop and pizzazz. Larry Welk and his group popped those champagne corks for you, while the Andrews sisters put more Z's and pizzazz than a bag full of bumblebees. I'm telling you, I saw those girls backstage just now, and zzz. Well, don't just take my word for it. See them for yourselves. Here they are, the wonderful Andrews sisters with Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
Unless a bass and guitar is playing with him. And the company jumps when he was reveling. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. He was some Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. And when he played his Boogie Woogie Bugle, he was busy as a busy bee. And when he played, he made the company jump H to the bar. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. Ah, toot-a-yada, toot-a-yada, toot-toot, he was an H to the bar. He can't blow a note if a bass and guitar isn't with him. And the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. He puts the boys in boogie every night and wakes them up the same way in the early light. They clap their hands and stamp their feet, 'cause they know how it goes when someone gives them a beat. Whoa, whoa, he breaks it up when he plays reveille.
Say, how about those gals? Let's give them another big round of applause. Speaking of ladies, I've got one I'd like to bring out right now. She's one of the U.S.'s favorite actresses and has a special place in my heart. She's also president of the Hollywood Canteen back home and is doing her part in the war effort. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming one of the great stars of today, Miss Betty Davis.
Why, thank you, Bob. That was certainly a flattering introduction. Are you sure you meant all that?
Of course, Betty. It's a pleasure to meet someone of my own class.
Bob, I've got to tell you, I don't know if it's the lighting in here or not, but you certainly have the brightest smile.
Why, thank you, Betty. As a matter of fact, I've taken to keeping my mouth shut during all the blackouts we've been having.
Why stop there?
Okay, folks, it's obviously past time to get back to the show. Here's another one of your favorites, just in from New York, New York, the fabulous Glenn Miller Orchestra Band. Great sound. You know, all those guys need is a really good, talented vocalist to join them. Someone with charisma, you know, a real flair. Stage presence, who the girls would be all gaga over. A voice as smooth as butter and looks to go with it. The ultimate crooner. Hey, Glenn, let me introduce you to my favorite guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Cagney.
I'm the kid that's all handy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm glad I am. So's Uncle Sam. I'm a real life Yankee Doodle. Made my name in the family doodle, just as Mr. Doodle did, by riding on a pony. I love to listen to the Dixie strings. I love to see the girl I left behind me. That ain't a Josh. She's a Yankee, by gosh. Oh, anything about a Yankee, that's all for me. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. Oh, will I let Uncle Sam come on the 4th of July? I've got a Yankee Doodle tonight. She's my Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle.
Say, how about that little Jimmy Cagney? Why, he's almost as good as the grown-ups. Lessons, Jimmy, lessons. And now on to our next guest. Boys, I'm gonna have to ask you to maintain your composure because this one sends them all wild. I understand they're about to come out with a wallpaper pattern with her picture on it. You boys won't have to buy all those individual posters anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Betty Grable. Hello.
Hello, Bob. It's certainly a pleasure to be here.
Well, I can assure you, Betty, the pleasure's all ours.
Bob, there's something I've been wanting to ask you.
Anything, Betty, anything.
Well, I hear that you play a lot of golf with one of my favorite guys,
Who's that?
Bing Crosby.
Oh, him? Not anymore.
Why, Bob? He seems like such a great, wonderful, big-hearted guy.
Well, would you play golf with a guy who waits till you're not looking, picks up the ball, and throws it towards the hole?
Of course not.
Well, neither will Crosby. But enough about it. Let's talk about someone we both care more about.
Who? Well, I did hear one interesting story about you.
Only one?
Backstage, just a few minutes ago, Betty Davis was telling me about the time that you were booked to entertain at the Hollywood Canteen for all the soldiers.
Yes, did she say how wonderful?
Well, that's the odd thing. You know how the canteen provides food and entertainment for free to the servicemen?
Uh-huh.
She just told me that she caught you out in front of the canteen waving and yelling, "Come on in, fellas, it's my treat."
Imagine that. She must have confused me with Jack Benny. Anyways, I do a number.
That's right, Bob.
Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Miss Betty Grable.
Folks are dumb where I come from. They ain't had any learning. Still they're happy and be doing what comes naturally.
Doing what comes naturally.
Folks like us who never fuss to schools and books and learning. Still we've gone from A to Z, doing what comes naturally.
Doing what comes naturally.
You don't have to know how to read or write when you're out with the fella in the pale moonlight. You don't have to look in a book to find what he thinks of the moon and what is on his mind. That comes naturally.
That comes naturally.
My uncle out in Texas can't even write his name. He signs his checks with X's and they cash 'em just the same. Grandpa Dick was always sick but never saw a doctor. He just died at 93, doing what comes naturally.
Doing what comes naturally.
Cousin Jack insured his shack and now he plays with matches. He'll collect, just wait and see, doing what comes naturally.
Doing what comes naturally.
Uncle Paul heard someone call when he just had 2 deuces. He wound up with aces 3, doing what comes naturally.
Doing what comes naturally. You don't have to go to a private school, not turn up your muscle to a stubborn. You don't have to have a professor's stone, not to go for the money with the beats at home.
That comes naturally.
That comes naturally.
A nice young man named
What a girl, what a girl. Now to cool things down with a bit of the bubbly, a young fella who's just burst onto the scene with his own distinctive sound, Mr. Lawrence Wilk and his orchestra. Thank you very much, folks. You've been a wonderful audience. Have me back sometime, please. Good night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bob Give 'em Hell Hope, coming to you live from, well, I can't exactly say where. You know, when we did these shows a few years back during the big one, World War II, I generally knew where we were. But I gotta tell you, this whole new ball of wax. Even if I could figure out where I was, I know I couldn't pronounce it. But the way I figured, if the brave men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces are here, then that's where I'm gonna be. At least we're all stuck in the middle of nowhere together. Right, fellas? Well, President Truman says we're going to keep the Reds from taking over the place. Says we're going to make them pay. Say, it reminds me of the time I'd gotten back from one of those trips, and one of the execs there says to me, "Hey, Hope, you know the red carpet treatment we give all the big celebrities when they come to town?" I say, "Sure." He says, "Well, we're going to do just that." I say, "Swell." He says, "Good, go get a vacuum. It needs cleaning." But seriously, folks, It's always good to come out and visit the USOs. And the atmosphere here is so friendly, what with the Marines, sailors, and soldiers all mixed in like that. Why, just the other night I saw a Marine dancing with a gorgeous blonde. A sailor cut in on him, and a soldier cut in on him. And it was all done in orderly military fashion. The bodies were dragged out in a column of 3. And the guys here are really fit. A bunch of he-men. Why, just the other night I walked in with Marilyn Monroe on one arm and Liz Taylor on the other. 2 minutes later, no Marilyn, no Liz, and no arms. And speaking of hot tamales, I've got one here that always reminds me of Chili Peppers. For that matter, she reminds me of most of the major food groups. You'll see what I'm saying after you enjoy our lovely Latin lady, Carmen Miranda.
senoritas, they are sweet and shy. They dance and play together when the sun is high. But when the dark moon is in the sky, they have a different kind of time, and even I forget the time delay. And they tutti frutti hat.
You know, Carmen, with all the heat you generate, I'm surprised all those fruits haven't cooked into a nice cobbler.
Oh, Bobby, you're so cute.
Oh, come on, Carmen, you don't have to say that.
Oh, but it's true, Bobby, really, it is.
I know. That's why you don't have to say it.
Oh, so you're a bad boy too, Bobby?
We'll discuss that later. Run along now, my little Chiquita. And now, proving that Sister Acts are still alive and kicking, here are, as my friend Larry Welk is prone to say, the lovely Linen Sisters.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack.